All right, welcome back. You're watching The Insight, where Truth has a new address. And of course, we can see Kabando, Bernard Kitur as well, and Richard Onyonka. They are on fire, right? And we are watching them burning, right? Thank you so much. How do you finish, Kabando? You know, we went for a short break. Can you finish, then we give it to Bernard Kitur?
If they want to talk about CDF, why they wakadebate huko? Yeah, amemaliza na CDF National Assembly. He is not adding value, wagali Hansard. Sasa, the CDF issue is with the Senate. Let him go and vote for it, and he has exposed. So, tutoe hapo. Tulete pale Kenya iko saa hii.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Bernard Kitur, you wanted to on what Honorable Richard Onyonka had to say?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this. I had deep respect for my colleague here, but I would have really thought that, because many Kenyans watch him, many of us also used to look at him as a mentor, but I'm really surprised today. I would have wished that sometimes when you get an opportunity like this, you don't throw bile, because they say in the fullness of the heart, the mouth seemingly just speak. Having this level of bitterness and pain does not give you an opportunity to be able to look at things objectively. That even the good things that is being done within the country, you cannot be able to see, because you are just full in your head of anything negative, anything. We cannot have an objective conversation, and let's not have also emotions running. I did mention, and I've liked the view of how Senator Onyonka has brought in. I agree with you, Senator. I think we will really need to have a lot of discussions. Objectively anyway, ideally, I think in Parliament, yes, it's true, we're supposed to be doing the three functions that have been mentioned. But also, the introduction of the CDF has had tremendous impact. In fact, as I talked to you about, I'm doing, I'm solarizing all my schools within my constituency, where I'll be cutting power bills by over 80% of all institutions. Right. So the impact that it's causing is great. So that's a conversation we'll pick it going into the future. But generally, I also wanted to say about, it is good to be fair in this debate, where you cannot give one person the entire discussion, and he seems not to realize and appreciate that. And throwing, words, throwing allegations. Those allegations have been there from all that time through. And sometimes when that person is not able to rebut, I don't think it is right also for you to be able to preside a conversation where you are not able to then censure some of the statements, especially being spewed on the leadership of this country. You see, even the way I'm being demeaned, by some of the sentiments that someone is making here, it is quite unfortunate indeed. So I would have wished that also, even as we're having this debate, let's have some respect for each other so that we can have a debate that edifies the people who are watching us today.
All right, let's gravitate to the issue of the National Conclave that is being called by Right Honorable Raila Odinga, which also has sparked a lot of debate. And we have also, on the other side of the opposition, calling this regime a hostile regime. So why would you want to have a conversation or a national conclave with a hostile regime?
I would assume, and I think I would most probably be one of the people who understands exactly where this came from. You see, initially, when Jacob Raila sat with us and discussed of him joining government to help President William Ruto, because the government was unstable and there was uncertainty on what was to be done, many of us actually were positive on that. Because the question, which again I'm sure you've seen so many people discuss, is if you let the Gen Zs come in and they were determined to move in, it was an uncertain eventuality. We didn't know whether the government would completely collapse. We didn't have IBC. So even if the president was to have been removed by whichever means you wanted, the reality is that the person who's supposed to come over and take over is supposed to be the deputy president. At that time, you didn't have IBC. Number two, the other option which was there is then you allow the military to take over. Or number three, allow the country to disintegrate, and then you're going to have militias running different counties and managing the classical case of Banana Republic politics on the African continent. So there was an argument on that. What changed on the way is what annoyed many of us, including me. Because we said there are certain low-lying fruits that this government and our party leader can actually now come and tell the president, Mr. William Ruto, yes, I want to support you. But I want you to rally your troops and get these troops. If it is a matter of fixing CDF and we need to get a 2/3 majority, yes, proceed with it. But you see, my brother, we had promised Kenyans that we are going to increase shareable revenue from 15% where it is stuck for the last 15 years, where we are going to actually increase it even to 25%. That would have made me forgive Jacom for making that decision. The third aspect that we discussed was very simple. We, in our manifesto, believed in free education. We believed in providing university free education from kindergarten up to. This is for us, because we are social democrats. This was a necessary engagement with the Kenyan public so that we can begin to remove the disparities that have been happening. When we went to the PFM Act, which is basically the Public Finance Management Act, which is the platform which manages our finances, what were we having? You had the IFMI system, which was supposed to have been encrypted. Enter, out, which is what they are doing now. For the last 3 years, that system has been broken. Completely broken. Where money that is supposed to be paid according to what the law says, including contractors, including some of them who have been having pending bills for 10 years. Many of them have been killing themselves because the debts basically wiped out everything. The governors came in, compromised this system where they bring their cousins, friends, and whatever who's running these county jobs, and they are paid when the people who worked 10 years ago, 6 years ago, 9 years ago have not been paid. The other issue that we discussed, Tibal, we told Jacom, for us, we make our country fairer. We don't want to have this constant election failures where the IBC is a compromised outfit. Can you sit with people and come in with what we are going to do with the presidency of William Ruto by agreeing to ask him and Raila and our team to come up with an election system that is above board? The election of commissioners, we are supposed to have agreed on the basic standard. What do you do? Do you use religion? Do you use age? Do you use education? All those things were supposed to be done. And many, many others, some of the things you see which were in BBI, some which were supposed to be in NANCO. What happened after that? Not a single aspect of those issues we were talking about governance, we were talking about fairness, we were talking about inclusivity. The same communities that have been employing people from one community where you have in government, 270 people have been employed in the ministry, and all these officers who are supposed to qualify. Because the time had come, meritocracy, where we are supposed to promote somebody because he's been trained and he's somebody who's gone to education properly, and it is his time to be promoted. Nothing. The same cliques, the same sharing oppositions. Look at what we are doing with the Teacher Service Commission. Why can't we have a scenario where it was first in, first out? Now, those who have the money are the ones who will go and buy positions from TSC, buy positions with the police, buy positions from Kenya Army. Is that the country that we want? No. These are the things which you don't need to change the law. Kabando has said it. And if you needed to change the law, why can't you change it since now both governments are working together? Nothing happened. Transactions were held. People negotiated deals. They finished that transaction. And for me, I say this with a lot of humility to my party leader. The fact that the projects with the national government of President William Ruto was intending to do were deliberately targeted for the community of Nyanza, who historically had been marginalized. We understand that. By him being ring-fenced as a Luo leader, it destroyed him. It removed the credibility that he had held for 50 years. And for me, this discussion on how we are going to discuss and figure out how to fix Kenya is a waste of state resources, is a waste of time, because we know what is broken with Kenya, and it can be taken to the National Assembly, and it can be fixed, and this country can get back to the center, because now we are running this country on the right as if the center bolt is broken. It has to come back to the center so that the country moves in together, so that those issues of inclusivity, good governance, and management of state resources, Kenyans must fear stealing state resources. Right now, they don't fear stealing the resources. They fear being caught. because they're stealing between 50, 100, 30, 40. We know who collects the money, where they get briefcases. You remember the Dibal, I know many have forgotten that the airport we were having was going to be sold. Haven't we discussed that? Right now, why is the National Assembly not able to tell me whether KenGen is still owned by the Kenyan government, whether Geothermal Development Corporation is actually an outfit which is owned by the government, who's running Turkana Wind Power, who are the owners, and by the way, are we still buying power from the independent power suppliers? Why are these guys not discussing that?
All right, so I wanted just to hear also the view of your national conclave entry on this. Do you side with what the horrible
First of all,
calling for?
First of all,
conversation?
You know, criticism voiced is very good than criticism underhand. Why I was intermittently trying to respond to my friend on the right is because he was making a lot of noise as I was talking and even banging table, but we have resolved that. I was trying to control him. He's a young man and a bit turbulent. So the conclave being proposed by Raila Odinga is another deception. Is another aura of conmanship. It is a continuation of the journey of political fraud. You know, when you had the so-called cooperation, he was made minister for energy and was given another ministry, okay? He left other people. But in 2002, October, he came back with a bigger team. And we met at Uhuru Park after a few meetings the week before, and then he said, Kibaki Tosha. And people forget and people forgive, they don't forget. They track you when you're a national leader. You are not criticized because of your home. And that's why we have said that, I said it in the last time we were here with you, that people who don't want their families to be criticized, keep your families away from those politics. If you don't want your privacy to be intruded, keep that privacy to yourself and then do politics the way it's supposed to be done. Then, after that, we had the manja, you know, what happened at Kasarani. And the fallout in that October when we went to Uhuru Park with the Rainbow Coalition and the NAK. Then we had the Nusu Mukate, which became a little bit like Nusu Mukeka, but I want to give Moi Kibaki and Raila Odinga credit for the way they ran the Grand Coalition government, except a few instances where merchants of impunity seem to be protected, including drug barons and some other people in corruption. We were with the Richard. He was in foreign affairs, I was in sports. And we were observing these things even as assistant ministers. You remember being a first in Kenya, assistant minister defying the minister on the floor of the House about Nyayo Stadium. I did it. And we went to the President, Moi Kibaki. And we went to the Prime Minister, Raila Odinga. And we lodged with my fellow assistant minister then, Wavinya Deti, current governor of Machakos, the issues we had. We put them on the floor of the House. We disobeyed our boss because we stood with the public interest about Nyayo Stadium, about Kipchoge Keino Stadium, where 100 million were popped in, but nothing to show. So we do it for public interest. And we should do it. And this is what our children are telling us. You made mistakes. You did your part. They even told Raila last year, Baba, you have been in the trenches. Move back. Let us do this. We are your grandchildren. They never said they're his children. Grandchildren, we want to do it. And they did what they did. But what ended up? Another quiet agreement. And I came here in the morning. The morning that Raila appeared on KTN to say they had met with Ruto in Mombasa, in a private residence, in the presence of Obasanjo sitting in the middle, I was in the TV 47 and I had made the revelations in the morning about the secret meetings that were happening. And then those meetings ended up with the debacle of AU, then the NADICO report, which has not been implemented, and then now the blood-based regime, which again is problematic because you're in charge of energy. You're in charge of the treasury. You're in charge of cooperatives and even minerals and the blue economy. And you have put a lot of your people in the principal secretaries. You have even hijacked parliament. Today, ODM members of parliament have taken up key positions of departmental committees that would have rightly belonged to the other. There has been a coup in parliament. Now, in Namibia, in the month of March. I think it's just about 3 months ago. Nandi was elected, the second leader in Africa to be elected as a president. The first one was Salif of Liberia. Last week, she said that corruption in Namibia will be a treason. That you are caught dipping your fingers in a public jar, you hang or you are shot. That is how Lee Kuan Yew grew Singapore. That is how China has grown. They can't do their corruption in Africa, but in China you are caught in a public pilferage, they shoot you in public. Now, if you are out there and you want to believe that the current president of Kenya can be compared to the lady, gracious lady of Swapo, Namibia, and can actually jail people for corruption, or can even terminate people who are implicated, you need to answer this question. There are people who are heading state corporations who have active corruption cases running to billions, former governors, former cabinet secretaries, former leaders in various institutions, including officials of political parties. They have been protected not by the judiciary, they have been protected by the presidency. And the president has taken them, given them big jobs, and gazetted those jobs, and they are the cheerleaders in the administration. So, when you talk about where does the buck stop? The buck, in terms of public accountability, stops at the desk or the person who should symbolize national unity and national pride, the president. In Kenya, I would consider you insane. In fact, I would subject you to a lot of doubt about the hygiene in your oblongata cerebrum, in your brain, if you are to tell me that you're expecting any time in the past, today, and tomorrow, William Ruto to make that change. Let me part with this. People say they don't understand what Article 1 of the Constitution says when it goes beyond Parliament. Article 1 to the Senator and the Member of Parliament here, and to all of us, means that these are delegated. Mheshimiwa Kitur is a delegated authority of the public. From Nadi Hills, he represents even the people of Mokoroini, because he is in the National Assembly. Mr. Onyonka
is a Kenyan
represents he is a senator elected from the county of Kisii to represent devolution, including in Kwale. Therefore, in terms of management of issues, the delegations are in the county assemblies, they are in the National Assembly, they are in the Senate, they are in constitutional commissions, the Kenya Human Rights Commission, they are in the Gender Commission, in the Constitutional Commission. That is what the Constitution says. But there is one that people want to ignore because they don't want to read deep. Supposing the judiciary ran amok, like the way they are giving a bill of 0.3 million for juvenile in the terrorist court somewhere in Nairobi in a committee in Kahawa. Supposing Parliament, like it is now today, runs completely illegitimate. Supposing Senate fails to protect the devolution, so counties are not getting money, so we don't have money for health or agriculture or vocational training. If the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, which is now giving the report about the massacre of people by police and by numbers, which are being now refuted by Interior Cabinet Secretary, who said people should be shot if they are around police stations, and supported clearly by the chairman of defense in the National Assembly, who is supposed to interrogate and oversight the Kenya Defense Forces and the National Intelligence Service, and authorized and actually sanitized by the head of state, who is the commander-in-chief of all defenses, of all security forces in Kenya, who said, shoot in the leg. Yet you remember the bar. Lex Masai was shot in the first uprising of Gen Zs non-violently in the CBD on Nairobi. He was shot in the leg and he died. The president is saying, shoot in the leg. Meaning, shoot them, they kill anyway. So you have the commander-in-chief, you have the interior cabinet secretary, you have the chairman of defense, speaking in unison. If the president has gone rogue, parliament is legitimate, then constitutional commissions are invalidated, and then you have the judiciary running amok at the Basak about the basic human rights of the people, abrogating Chapter 4 of the Constitution.
Thank you.
What would it mean? What would it mean? What would it mean if they say you can exercise your power as the people of Kenya indirectly through those institutions and representatives? If those fail, you can exercise that power directly. The story of Bangladesh, where last week the police commissioner of Bangladesh was put in jail. The president of Bangladesh was forced to go to flight to India. So Kenyans have a very legitimate right? They actually are wholly in their pursuit to seek removal of illegitimate, satanic, diabolical government of Ruto. They are within the Constitution.
Right. Those are strong verbiage used.
Yeah, they are supposed to be strong.
Very, very strong verbiage used.
They are supposed to be strong.
Debal, you did mention that if it is important for us to have a national conclave. First, I want to maybe on a view part also of the statements that were made that I thought were a bit harsh and unfair for those of us that believe in the vision, in the strides, in the, what the president is doing to transform our country. And I support President William Ruto, not because I come from his backyard, but because Kenyans right now look at what plan do you have for a country, and then what are you doing about it? When we go back a bit, there was a time we had Kenyans complaining about the cost of living. If you remember very well, there even are times when people, famously would put sufurias on their heads. And there was mayhem around, in which case there was a NADCO, National Dialogue. Along the coast, we had the National Dialogue Committee, where then we brought in leaders to be able to have a conversation. What are these things that are really affecting our country that then we can be able to have a discussion and the government of the day to be able to implement? And it was fully supported. It was brought into Parliament. We voted for it. A budget was given. A conversation was done. Some of the summary of the things that were done then was the aspect of IEBC, the formation of the selection panel, And that was done. We went even ahead until we now have the IEBC commissioners. Another discussion was the cost of living, which we all know. At the point in time we got into, the Kenya Kwanza government got into power, the cost of unga was very high. It's common knowledge. Look at it now. Amongst many other things, where they're talking about sugar, the importation of those. And the government did make some, radical, steps, like for instance, subsidizing fertilizer, where I come from a region where we plant all these things, and indeed the impact of the same. I know we used to get about 44 million bags of maize, for instance. Right now we are doing 67, and at some point they're expecting almost 84 million bags. What has that done? The cost of living has come down. I did mention earlier that the figures never lie. We had an inflation of 9.6. Right now we are doing 3.8. Those are figures that never lie. Why? It came out of NADCO discussions. There was the issue of the two-third gender rule. That is also a matter that has not been finalized, so to say. There was conversations around the Senate terms and the issue of the counties in terms of the demarcations of the counties. There was the issue of the CDF, Senators and Women Fund, the formalization of the same into the Constitution. That is some of the things now that we're having a conversation a few minutes ago. So there was something that came out of that NADCO report. Some have been done, some are still in process. So as to whether it is important for us to have that debate right now is neither here nor there. However, you remember also when Raila Odinga agreed with President William Ruto on working together on the broad-based government, there was a 10-point agenda, most of which are still part of those that were discussed in this. But I also want to say, it is important to also be able to hear, over time, a national conversation is always good. But then, did it come out of, after the 7/7 or
But we've been talking
at
a
the
good
finance
game
bill?
about all these national conversations. Oh, this will be the BOMA's draft moment. Again, harking back into history. We wonder then, what discernible difference will it make? Yeah, and then we're going to spend a lot of money.
That's what I'm saying.
National conversation.
In my view, I don't think it will add any much more value because we already know the issues that are affecting us.
Have this conversation.
I don't think it's
Thank you.
important.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
But no, but we've had also united opposition members,
Yes.
leaders there, calling for national dialogue.
No, what we are...
Kalonzo Musyoka has been calling for a national dialogue.
Let me-
I think-
so what's diametrically different with the conclave?
Let me explain to you.
It's just a matter of semantics.
Let me explain to you. The national dialogue that Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is introducing is exactly what I've told you. We know what is broken.
Yes.
What we want these people
Yes.
to do, we have members of parliament who are in the opposition side who are still in parliament. We want them and this side to, that is what the national dialogue is supposed to be. Bring bills which are going to stop the nonsense that has been going on in our country. It must be done legitimately within the law, and it must be done with integrity. Those are the issues we are discussing. So when Kalonzo is talking about the national dialogue being there, we are saying we are seized and waited on the very substantial issues about this country of ours, Dibal. And that is what we struggle with in the opposition every day. Do I go in public and bring out the issues which are outstanding right now, which then are being interpreted from the side of the government, that we are just vitriolic, we are bitter, there's nothing we are offering, and yet the country is hemorrhaging. Are we happy and safe that we are seeing kids being killed? I mean, as a Kenyan, when I see a police officer shooting a young man who's selling a mask, is that normal? Should I tone down? Should I keep quiet about
Point of
it?
information.
And we are saying we do not want to tone down on anything. We are asking the presidency to take the responsibility it was given by the Constitution of Kenya. President William Ruto doesn't like us in the opposition, but he can surely like the country. I mean, my brother, I know you really have a tall order. You're talking about how the economy, of course, don't take me back to where I was. I left that 3 months ago. Yes, you are subsidizing fertilizer, but it was all stolen. You know that.
No, but...
I mean, we can run through. And the issue you are saying that, yeah, we have 4 months of revenue, which we can
Import
use for
cover.
importation. The reason is very simple. It is those wonderful Kenyans who are in the diaspora, who are bringing in funds directly into our republic. Otherwise, we are not exporting anything. Our tourism is gone down. We are not seized of the issues that we should. Who is going to come into this country and do direct investments when they know if you come and buy land, the title deed most probably is not there. If it is not there, somebody in government has already taken over your property. If you go to challenge them, they come with goons. If you want to come in and open a shop or whatever, government can organize goons to come and break down where you're having a shop. Why? Because you are profiled, because you come from a certain tribe. Is that the country we want?
Let me go now.
And our answers are, that is not the direction we want to go. We want this country to get back to the center where we take care of our deepest fears. How do we handle our tribalism? Why is it that we behave like it's not an issue? Oh, those ones are the ones who are tribal. When you look at the data from CIOC, the institution that is supposed to tell you that you have only employed people from one community and please stop doing that, what happens? Nobody listens.
So,
look at the law with court orders. What is being happen? You can go and get a court order today, stopping anybody closing this station. What happens next? They will go and cut it from some. I mean, we need a country that can be governed with respect and with dignity.
So, solution. Dibal, the solution to this country is only one. And however much we run away from it, amok or basak, is one. The rule of law and constitutionalism.
Thank you.
Everything that is wrong is because there is violation
Of the law.
of the law and the constitution. The law says that if you are charged in a court of law, not in a Kaguru court, then you should not hold a public office, or if you are in the process of litigation, you are protected until the end of the completion. You exhaust all the parameters. But if you are appointed, you are bureaucrat, you are civil servant. You are a CS, you are a chairman of a state corporation, you are a parastate or board member, and so on and so forth. You are an appointee of those you have given authority. You should not hold office. Even before the constitution was changed, you remember we had the ministers stepping aside until investigations were complete. Others never came back. A few came back because the rule of law needs to be upheld. The Constitution of Kenya 2010, we say 2010 just to emphasize that from 2010 we birthed a new dispensation and we brought a new Kenya. Means that we ring-fence hygiene in leadership, whether politics or elsewhere, so long as it's in the public. You can go lead your companies, you can do your farming, you can do your businesses. But when it comes to holding a public office, there are limitations.
Thank you.
And those limitations, we saw in 2015, we saw, even with challenges of the previous regime, we saw Uhuru coming to parliament and terminating services of 5 cabinet secretaries. 1 or 2 may have come back, but I'm saying there was an action that was cheered in parliament. I was with him in the parliament at that time. Yes. What we need is respect for the Constitution. That respect for the Constitution means that we don't need more discussions. Because as I said, from NADICO, remember we have an agreement between ODM and UDA. The agreement between Raila and Ruto was exclusive to other opposition leaders. And that led to the ODM party being given leaderships in the parliament and also cabinet secretaries. We have seen even relatives of Raila being appointed even advisors of Ruto. Now advisors are going, I think they are over 100. Yet last year, he had said he was going to reduce by 50%. And we had seen even dissolving the whole cabinet because there was uprising. It doesn't require rock science to appreciate Martin Luther King's quote that in great times of challenge, of national disharmony, changes are not brought by the adjustment of the conforming majority. Those who are yes, those who want to be comfortable, their businesses don't to be touched, they are fearing for their security, or they are fearing for being politically alienated. In times of great crisis, Martin Luther King says, the non-violent leader from the United States of America, civil rights leader, said in times of national crisis, maladjustment of the bold, non-conforming minority is necessary. What we need today is to have the painful but necessary surgery, including how we think, what we do. So how we do it. So Kabando should not come here and start playing safe because I don't want to be seen like I'm very intolerant of what is happening, or because I don't want to be seen by people from Nyeri like I'm an extremist. I'm telling you, we need to be very extreme when it comes to integrity, when it comes to ethics, when it comes to the sanctity of human life, and when it comes to opposing gluttony and violation of the very constitution that we give to ourselves and to posterity. With all due respect, the state of Kenya today is not calling for piecemeal changes where they are proposed where they are proposed by this one or the other one. The comprehensive changes are already in the Constitution. We have the requisite enabling legislations. We have people who are elected to be delegates from the ward level all the way to the presidency. What we need today is total, absolute, unapologetic compliance to the law. Unfortunately, and this brings discomfort to people, even in more holds. Unfortunately, the current leadership, the echelon of leadership in Kenya, where the buck stops, is incorrigible, is unable, is unhygienic, and only a replacement of the national leadership will bring the required changes. I want to say I am very doubtful, and I remain a pessimist as to the ability of Ruto or the sycophants to change Kenya.
So what do you say?
Thank you.
The Constitution is our conclave. We don't need any other...
The Constitution is our conclave.
Thank you. Right.
I think I need to do a bit of a rebuttal, of course, correcting some...
Yeah, even as we prepare now to give
our final remarks.
Yes, our final remarks.
My senior senator did mention that we don't export much of the things to be able to avert that import cover that I've said historic over 17 years. We've never had the largest, import cover. We have enough forex. And I wanted to mention to him some of the programs that the Kenya Kwanza government has done. For instance, opening up the aspect of the online space where we now have many Kenyans. And by the way, Kenya is leading on the online trading and online works. Even the other day, I saw a clip that was being done even in the US that Kenya are the ones leading, like the young people almost across. They are earning so much dollars coming into the country because they work, because of an enabling environment that Kenya has been able to create. Some of the other thing, by the way, we've had over 400,000 Kenyans actually going out to work. There is the highest level of export of talent, export of labor. This is one of the spaces that then has been expanded by government, just as they've been doing in every other sector. What has that done? It has been able to have our country have enough of the forex. And that is why we have now stability. Were these things there before 2022? No. When we talked about the 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic, it looked like a story. But right now, when you look at all the TFET institutions, those are the places now where young Kenyans can be able to go work. This is now part of the things that we're talking about, initiatives by government that they've been able to do to be able then to promote that space. I wanted to also mention that true, respecting the rule of law, I think being objective and honest is the only way that we can be able then to have our country, move forward. And of course,
thank you.
Also ideas and deliberately choosing to do things that were sometimes impossible. Look, I know I keep mentioning this, maybe someone may want to dismiss it, but the aspect, for instance, of having a healthy nation, coming up with the idea of SHA, in my view, universal health care, to have a healthy nation. Those are the radical ideas that the Kenya Kwanza government has been able to bring up for. I keep insisting that there was a lot of noise before, but nowadays you begin to hear, silences because people are now beginning to see the benefit. They had 6 million Kenyans in NHIF. We have now 23 million, 24 million. And by and large, you're seeing a lot of improvement in that space. Whether you're talking about the housing programs, there is so much work that is, apart from the fact that Kenyans are going to have a decent living, people are getting also the opportunities to work. No, just hold. When I was even talking about the Talanta Center that you're talking about, it is employing 3,000 Kenyans on a daily basis for over 1 year. People are getting jobs. So what I wanted to say is there are these programs that government is doing, whether you're talking about agriculture, whether you're talking about education, some radical steps that are done by government. When we are even coming in, we are over 23 universities that were facing bankruptcy. Right now, they are back on their feet through the student funding model. Yes. And there are things that are being done around that space, even if there are still 1, 2, 3, 4 challenges. Please hold. You will get your time, Senator, my senior senator. You will get your time. I'm just speaking. It's my time.
Taking forever.
And when you have 2 minutes, you had about 10 minutes yourself. I didn't complain.
10 minutes. It's okay. It's okay.
No, on a summary scale, by the way, what I'm just trying to say is there are positive things that are being done by government in every sector. And I was talking about the ideas. As far as we follow also the rule of law, which is very important and part of this country and constitutionalism, we also need to have a leadership that have ideas and implement pragmatic ideas. And then those of us that are in parliament are able then to put in laws that are able to ring fence. And finally, corruption must be dealt with forthwith. I know the Kenya Kwanza government has done, but it's not enough. We still need to tighten it further. If we have to have a country that is successful, we have ESCC. We've been able to increase their budget.
Oh, budget. Okay.
Yes. No. You increase the budget of ESCC for them to be able to have enough capacity to be able to do the investigations. If it's the DCI, the same thing. We've been able to increase their budget.
Oh, money. It's about money.
It's about giving them capacity. All right? Giving them capacity to be able to execute their mandate and giving them the independence that is critical for them to be able to do their job. So that you don't come and say that it is the executive that is doing. And some of these things, even empowering the judiciary. You remember when we had, within judiciary, we have a department that deals with economic crimes, right? The budget was increased for them. Why? To have the capacity. But that is not enough. I think we still need to do more. Finally, I want to ask Kenyans that let's be fair. Let us not have this judgment on the basis of tribalism.
True.
I had a discussion today here, and I'm telling you, it's pure judgment on who I am. We should be able to look at ourselves as Kenyans, nationalists. You don't judge the leadership that is there, and you have a lot of disrespect for the leaders that are there, basically because of the basis, probably, on where they come from. But purely it should be based on the content of who they are and the deliverables, their determination to change this country. Finally, Kenyans in the future will be choosing the leaders based on the agenda, the dream that they have to be able to transform our country. It is not on any other basis. But what is it that you have? For them of them that have been in power now, like President William Ruto, will be, what did you tell us? What have you been able to achieve? Them that will be coming will be, what is this idea that you have that will be better and transform this country much than where it was? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Onyonka, to wind up your closing remarks.
Yes, my closing remarks is that I have actually, once again, had a wonderful evening discussing these issues with my colleagues. I believe that this is in the right direction. I want to tell my brother, he listens to me for just 16 seconds. You have a country where university students can't go to university. Why? Because they come from poor families, and the government, which gave the National Assembly 48 billion as their expenditure, and all the money you needed is for these university students to be given 20 billion plus help. You know now that help is bankrupt. You have a country where we have a port called Mombasa. You don't know what government has negotiated with whoever, whether it's the Chinese, whoever. My reality is that there's much more we have. There's been discussions taking place with the companies in Dubai, Bandar Abbas, everything, all those things being discussed, the link with the Iranians and everything. Leave that on the side. Come and look at my country, my brother. As much as he's saying, he looks like everything to him is doing okay. Shah has got challenges. That was not what we were complaining about. We were complaining about there was money which was being held by National Hospital Insurance Fund, which was cleaned out. There was money which has been paid 110 billion to Shah for providing the system, the financial system, to run the system. There were Kenyan boys who said, we can do that with what? 2 million shillings. You look at our country and you look at how Kenyans are behaving. We have thrown out meritocracy. You are going to have a case judged depending on whether you're able to buy whoever you can buy within the legal system. We have a country where we are talking about, Dibal, I've gone to close to 20 health facilities since I joined the Committee of Health. I have gone under devolution. Look at what is happening in our county governments. What do? Governors steal the money. They get the ESCC guys. He's saying ESCC have been given money. My brother, that's a tall order. They are handing over briefcases. Files are being kept and taken wherever they can. Why? Because that is the norm. What we are saying, can we create deterrence from the misuse, abuse, and wastage of our resources?
Thank you.
And for me, I have said this before, and maybe that is the only thing I'll disagree with my brother Kabando. Honorable Kabando, William Ruto is an accident of Kenyan politics. William Ruto is a child who grew up in a system which breaks itself into pieces, and then you act as if you're going to fix it. In the process of that, look at where we are. Our country is dysfunctional, our country is disorganized, our country has become more tribal, our country has become, I see people making noise about, Wamunyoro is just a tribalist, he's somebody who doesn't. That is how we've become. We are a consequence of this broken system which Kabando is talking about. And my brother, I want to persuade you to come to the center. We are a consequence of this broken system where the winner takes everything. We have no poor people. It is only our children who can go to Nairobi Hospital. It's our children who can only go to Aga Khan. It is our children who can go to the best schools in the world. And yet we have destroyed our public health system. We have destroyed our educational system. And we have destroyed the basic tenets of just remaining a nationalist and saying I'm a Kenyan.
Thank you. Thank you. Horrible.
Mr.
Kabando.
Mr. Dibal,
Yes.
As we want to thank Honorable Bernard Kitur and Richard Onyonka for this deliberation. In this deliberation, there are supposed to be no bars held. People go to frontal and defend the position. For instance, I'm in the opposition unapologetically, and therefore I know our agenda, number one, is removal of William Ruto, and this is about democracy. People who are in opposition seek to replace the incumbent government in order to do things differently. And therefore, no apologies about that, and there are reasons to do with that. Remember the ban. With all due respect, I was the first member of Azimio to post a message to congratulate William Ruto when on the 13th of September, he was declared by the Supreme Court to be validly elected. I did that, I was number one. And even asked the people who had contested on Azimio, those who lost, to accept defeat and move on with oversight. We're doing oversight now. So I would say this. University of Nairobi is a premier institution in this region, not just in Kenya. Today, University of Nairobi, from the position of Chancellor to Vice Chancellor, it has been infiltrated in Shapers, the finances, and even some land belonging to the University of Nairobi.
It's being sold.
Is being sold, is being grabbed by this government.
Private developers.
And the Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, of a university in Kenya for the first time, has been imported. The Chancellor of the University of Nairobi is imported from Europe. And these things are happening because he is a machinery of perpetrating impunity. Number two, more university. You saw what happened a few years ago. People rose in their villages in Eldoret, including the governor of, who was in Gishu, the governor of
Nandi.
Nandi. There was even the governor from Egeo Marakwet, and all the members of parliament, the MCAs and the villagers around there. They went and chased Ayiro, Professor Ayiro, who is now doing a great job at Daystar University, and they insisted to have their own. Today, Moi University is bankrupt, and over 1,000 acres of Moi University has been grabbed by a close associate of William Ruto. It's in public knowledge. And Parliament is muzzled, is castrated, it cannot oversight to ask those questions. Now, Ruto is telling us that we have brought up our children badly. I met the son of Onyonka many years ago. Every time we speak, I always ask him how my son is doing. And I can tell you, we try to do our best. William Ruto is the generation.
Yeah, we need to wind up. Yeah.
Okay, we are winding up. But you know, these people get uninhibited time. So let me finish up in the next 1 minute only. Because Ruto becomes like a very sensitive touch, the anatomy of corruption and impunity. So let me say this. So William Ruto, you are telling our children are terrorists. You are saying that they have been brought up in bad parentage, and therefore they are bad. You called them terrorists last year, you are calling them Shetani this time. Look at yourself. Who is driving in Nairobi with impunity, without licensing, going on the wrong side of the road?
Your son.
Who today is bribing students in University of Nairobi, Egerton, in Kisumu, in Mombasa, bribing student leaders from the universities, taking them to Mombasa, taking them to Kisumu lately, to bribe them so that the student leaders... No, can I finish what I'm saying?
Yes, okay, just finish. But I have...
What is this intolerance at censorship?
Okay, just finish.
You see, my friend here is making noise. And
Have I made any noise?
no, you
Have I made any noise?
So can I conclude my point?
Please.
William Ruto, I'm asking you, whose child was involved in the drafting of the illegal gluttonous deal of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport? Who was involved in the organization that was drafting those illegal deals? Whose child is bribing students, leaders, in order to suffocate their voice, to remove them from their generation of Gen Zs? Whose child is driving matatos in Nairobi CBD on the wrong side of the road? And I'm asking, who went to Nyeri and said that you have given Nyeri Keganjo new KCC plant 400 million? Yet if you go there now, the painting does not cost more than 10,000. Who gave Sotik from Bomet, the new KCC depot at Sotik, 600 million, and within a week, the money had moved. That is totaling 400 from Nyeri, 600 from Bomet. $1 billion was supposedly given, and then you went there to inspect the development. Nothing was done. And finally, how do you feel? When in my county of Nyeri, as in other counties, we are burying at least one young man every day because of mental health, because of the frustration that is there. And as you do that, you also orchestrating goonery and thuggery for people to come and destroy the businesses of hardworking industrial people from my community. If you attack a Kisii, we are all Kisiis. You attack Kikuyus, we are all Kikuyus. You attack a Kalenjin, we'll come and defend you. Kenya must remain one.
Thank you.
Remain one.
Honorable Kitur, thank you. You closing.
And we must inject.
My closing remark is I still wish that we have a conversation that is positive enough for our country. I appreciate being here today, but I would have had also an opportunity to do a rebuttal as is done, but I want to thank you very much. I think for Kenyans, let's be objective. Let's look at the positive side of life. When you're given half a glass of water, let's look not the empty part, but the part that is. And we still have 2 years to go. Let us support this government to be able to deliver some of those things that you think needs to be done, because we are here and we listen.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Richard Onyonka, Senator of Kisii. We really do appreciate Kabando. You've been on fire today, but I'll appreciate next time when you come, at least have some
I also
a stitch of evidence, so that
I also
we speak from a point of facts.
Next time we'll bring the facts.
No. If you are going to ask evidence, then you need to become a judge, not a moderator. This is the platform of debate.
All right, thank you, Honorable Kabando and Bwana Kitur.
Lakini hata ukiniita next week nitakuja. I will not let you down.
I really do appreciate. Thank you for your valued company. Yes.
I think today was the best show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate. Right.
And you've done well. You've done very well.
Have a restorative night.
Particularly in praising Onyonka.
No.